Hi, welcome to the Gemara on Chaf Amud Aleph. We're starting with the Gemara immediately following the Mishnah there. Gemara begins with the question, Minalan, which, as we'll see, is the Gemara asking from where do we know this, but specifically, from where do we know that Megillah can only be read on Purim after sunrise? And the answer is to Amar Kra, a pasuk from Esther, V'hayamim ha'ela nizkarim v'na'asim. These days are remembered and observed. You know by now that Nizkar, remembered, is about reading Megillah. So the Gemara interprets from here, do with a dash, Bayom in, Balayla lo. This means the word V'hayamim means only during the day and not at night. That's when you have to read. Let's say that this contradicts the statement of Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. To Amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, Chayav Adam likros to Megillah balayla, v'lishnota bayom. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says that a person is obligated to read Megillah at night and then to repeat it during the day. In other words, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi has our custom, our ruling, of doing two different Megillah readings, one which is in fact at night and one which is during the day. So how does that fit with this ruling about only reading during the day? And the answer is Ki katani adiyom. This was taught, or when this was taught, meaning when our Mishnah was taught, it was taught adiyom, on the day. Meaning, our Mishnah is only discussing the day reading. Obviously, the nighttime reading happens at night, but when it comes to the daytime reading, that has to be done after sunrise. Moving on to the next quote from the Mishnah, V'lo malin v'chulei, that you cannot have a brit milah until after sunrise. Tichtiv, as it says, uvayom hashmini yimol. On the 8th day you will circumcise, so approved day means day, it has to be during the day. V'lo tovlin v'lo mazin v'chulei. So moving on in the examples in the Mishnah, you can't immerse after or until after sunrise. Right, tefillah doesn't happen until after sunrise. Tefillah in a mikveh, and also mazin, you can't sprinkle the mei chatat on a person who's tamei met until after sunrise, etc. Tichtiv, as it is written, v'hizah tzahor al hatameh v'gomer b'yom hashvi'i. So the that which is pure is sprinkled on the person who is impure, or the pure person sprinkles these waters on the contaminated impure person, and it says b'yom hashvi'i, so it has to happen during the day. V'ivkash tefillah lahazayah, and tefillah is connected to the sprinkling, right? It's about the purification process, and it's also about the sprinkling and the immersion. They're both part of the purification process. So since they're put together, Rashi points out here, I won't read it inside, but Rashi points out that the verses juxtapose v'rachatz b'mayim, washing in water, and the hazayah, the sprinkling. So they're connected. They both have to be done during the day. V'chen shomeret yom kineged yom, lo titbo ad shetinetz hachama. And continuing in the Mishnah, so too a shomeret yom kineged yom, someone who has, a woman who has had 1 or 2 days of bleeding, but not yet 3, so she's not a zava gadola, she's a zava katana, and she only has to wait 1 day before she goes to the mikveh. We've discussed this case before, so she too can't go to the mikveh until after sunrise. Pshita, this is obvious. Ma'ishna shomeret yom kineged yom mikol chayvei tefillot. How is a shomeret yom kineged yom different from all other people who immerse? Meaning, the previous case in the Mishnah said lo tovlin, and this is shomeret yom kineged yom lo titbol. So why do we need 2 different statements in the Mishnah to teach us about immersing in the mikveh? Aren't they the same thing? Itzrich, no, it was necessary, meaning the separate second ruling is necessary. Sachta techamina, because I might have thought, or I might have said, tihavi kiriyah rishona shel zav. I might have thought that a shomeret yom kineged yom, her immersion is like the first riyah of a zav. I'll explain that in a minute. V'riyah rishona shel zav ikish bal keri. And the first sighting of a zav is connected, is compared to a Baal Keri, a man who has a seminal discharge. In other words, if a Zav, which is this man who has this sort of mysterious STI, but again, like a Zavad, happens, whatever it is that he's seeing, happens 3 times. But if it only happens once, if it's happened once and it doesn't happen again, then we consider him like any man who's had a seminal emission. These two are connected, and we might have thought that the Shemeret Yom Keneged Yom is also in that category. We'll see more about that category in a minute. Tichtiv, Zot Torat Hazav V'asher Tetzeh Mimenu Shechvat Zera. This just proves that we connect a Zav who sees once with a Baal Keri. You have this pasuk, Ma Baal Keri Tovel Bayom, Hainami Litbol Bayome. So just as a Baal Keri immerses during the day, right, the man who's had a seminal emission goes to the mikveh during the day, but that very day, meaning he doesn't have to wait till the following day. If this man sees semen on Tuesday, Tuesday early morning, he can go to the mikveh while it's still daytime on Tuesday. And so too for a Zav who's only seen one sighting of whatever this discharge is, he can also go to the mikveh on that day. V'habi amam lo matzi tavla, but a shomeret yom keneged yom, a woman who just sees blood once, let's say, or just sees blood twice, but hasn't seen blood 3 times in a row, she doesn't have to wait 7 days to go to the mikveh, but she does have to wait till the following day. She can't go to the mikveh on the same day that she saw the blood. How do we know this? Tichtiv, because it says, Kol yemei zova kimishkav nidatai yela. That all of the days of her nida, all the days of her ziva, all of her zava days, should be, are similar to, or are treated like the days of her nida. Given that, belele mihat liavid miktzat shimor v'titbol. So this pasuk kol yemei zova kimishkavni es hayela. This proves, according to Rashi, that she can't go to the mikveh on the day that she sees the zava. She has to count at least one blood-free day before she goes to the mikveh. He gets that from the words yela, that it should be for her. She should have something to separate between the days when she's bleeding and the days when she's not. But you might think that she could wait into part of the night, right? And sort of her shimor, her keeping of an extra day, could be by keeping part of the night, right? Because remember, the day begins at night halachically. So she could think, well, I'll go to the mikveh, a few hours into the night. Kamash malan, kevan zebaya sfira. So this comes to teach us that since she requires some amount of counting, Sfira b'yamamahi. Sfira only happens, counting a day only happens during the day. So again, just to go over those ideas, because that's a little bit complicated, we thought at first that it's redundant to have Shemeret Yom Keneged Yom counted as a separate case from other types of immersion. And we say no, because you might have thought that she can immerse on the day of, right? The day that she sees blood, once or twice, she could go to the mikveh that day, just like a man who has a seminal emission or a man who has a zav sighting just once. We would have thought she could go during the day. And she can't go during the day. She can't go the day of. She has to count one day. And that counting of one day can't be just, I bled on Monday, so I can't go to the mikveh Monday because you can't go day of, but maybe I could go Tuesday late at night because once I waited a few hours of Tuesday, it's like I've counted a day. No, the Mishnah is coming to tell you you can't go till the daytime, so you have to wait all that night that follows the day that you bled, and then you can only go after sunrise, the day after the day that you had this bleeding. Moving on in the Mishnah, V'kulan she'asu mishala amud hashachar kasher. This is what we call a ruling for a b'diavad situation. You are not supposed to do any of these things in the Mishnah until sunrise, but if you did any of them from the time of dawn, which is an earlier time, it's not quite as light, whatever it is that you did is valid if it's one of these cases. Menahani milai. From where do we know this? How do we know that this is true? Amar Rava, Amar Kra. They put a colon there. Vayikra Elokim la'or yom. That God called the light day. Familiar pasuk. L'meiru ba kra'o yom. As long as it was getting lighter, as long as there was an active brightening, God called that day. Meaning, okay, like dawn maybe doesn't actually start the day, but it's getting on towards day, so we can consider it part of the day. The Gemara objects to this answer, though. Ela ma'ata v'lachoshech karalayla l'machshichu ba karalayla. However, from here, meaning based on your reasoning, the fact that the pasuk goes on to say u'lachoshech karalayla, that God called the darkness night, l'machshichu ba karalayla, then it should be that as soon as it starts getting dark, right, the beginning of darkening should be considered night. Hakaimalan za'atzei kochavim lav laylahu. But we uphold the idea that it is not actually nighttime. It's not halachically nighttime until the stars come out. So you can't play that game with choshech. So why can you play that game with or? So we reject that answer. Now we have a new answer for what the source of this ruling is. Ela amar Rabbi Zera mehacha. Rabbi Zera says we get it from here. V'anachnu osim b'melacha. This is a pasuk from Nehemiah, I believe, from Nehemiah, and the pasuk is about doing work during the day. Anachnu osim b'melacha, v'chatziam machzikim b'ramachim. That's the first pasuk. Me'alot hashachar ad tzei kochavim. Ve'omer. So this pasuk. And then there's another pasuk, and again, also from Nehemiah, V'hayu lanu halayla mishmar, that the night was a time of watching. First, the full pasuk says, we work during the day and we watch during the night. So this first pasuk describes the work they did from dawn until the stars came out, and the second one says that they watched during the night and basically that they work during the day, meaning that's the continuation of the pasuk that's not here. So this proves, right, that the part of a 24-hour time period that is from dawn until the stars come out is referred to as day. My ve'omer. What is this ve'omer? Meaning, why do we have the citation of a second piece of pasuk? Why not suffice with the first one? V'chi tema mishala mud hashachar lav yamama u'mechi arva shimsha lele v'inhu mekadmeu mechashrei. V'chi tema. So you might say, you might have thought, if you would say that we can't prove anything from that first pasuk, because mishala mud hashachar, right, from starting at dawn, that's not actually day. And once it gets dark, meaning once the sun sets, it's considered night. Meaning, maybe you'll say just the fact that they worked from dawn till the stars came out doesn't mean that that's a daytime period. Doesn't mean anything about whether we consider it day or night. It's just that's how long they worked. Right, and they just these people just mentioned, we're just saying that they started their work even earlier than the start of day and remained there even till after nightfall. It doesn't necessarily mean that they were working only during the day or only at night. Tashma, so therefore it teaches us, right, come and learn from the rest of the verse, V'hayu lanu halayla mishmar v'hayom melacha. Right? No, specifically the part of the day that they're working, or the part of the 24-hour day that they're working, is what they consider to be daytime, and they're calling daytime anything from dawn until the sun sets. So this is a better proof than the first one, that dawn is the beginning of day on some level. So even though we don't accept it l'chachila, we do accept it b'diavad as the start of day. Okay, we'll stop there.